10 News begins with breaking news.
Right now, firefighters are working around the clock to battle fires to our north and our south. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena in for Kimberly Hunt. The Getty fire has exploded hundreds of acres near the famous Getty Museum in Los Angeles. Thousands of residents including celebrities, are having to evacuate. The Kincaid fire ravaging homes and structures in Sonoma County, burning thousands of acres in just the past couple of days. And to our south, fire crews are doing everything in their power to put out a deadly wildfire in Baja. Our 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo is live at the border with the latest on containment. Laura.
And Lindsay, that fire started south of the border last week, one day after the Kincaid fire. It has since claimed 3 lives and has burned over 250 homes. The smoke was visible from San Diego, but on the ground in Mexico, the fires were burning out of control in 4 different municipalities: Tijuana, Ensenada, Tecate, and Rosarito. Tecate and Ensenada were the ones hit the hardest. State officials say thousands of hectares of land burned, but haven't provided an exact number. Anselmo Salazar lost his home. He says he was sleeping when the fire caught his family by surprise. He says there was no warning. Salazar says by the time he was leaving the home, it was already on fire. He's one of over 100 who lost everything. This man says he stayed behind using a garden hose to wet rooftops. The fires, the worst in Baja California's history. In Tijuana, more than 60 homes lost, more than 30 in Rosarito, and over 100 in Ensenada. Now, the cause of these fires are still under investigation. The state of Baja California is receiving help from other states in Mexico while they await federal funding after declaring a state of emergency. Live from the border, Laura Acevedo, 10 News.
Thank you, Laura. And tonight, fire crews are racing to get a handle on 2 massive fires. One in Los Angeles, another up in Sonoma County.
This is horrible.
In LA, the Getty fire forced 25,000 people to evacuate. This fire broke out along the 405 early this morning and has since scorched over 600 acres. It's been pushed by Santa Ana winds, at times gusting at 65 miles an hour. The Kincaid fire in Sonoma County doubled in size over the past 2 days. Now over 74,000 acres. It's 15% contained.
This cannot be the new normal. We cannot absorb this year after year. We have experienced 10 of the worst fire seasons in California's history just since 2015.
8 homes in LA have been destroyed. Fire crews are working to get ahead of the Getty fire as the challenging winds return this week.
Pacific Gas and Electric says it's restored service to hundreds of thousands of customers in Northern California that were affected by last weekend's planned blackouts. But of course, this comes as the utility prepares for a 3rd round of planned shutoffs. Starting early tomorrow, PG&E will begin shutting off power to more than 600,000 customers. That's about 1.5 million people. This is to help prevent wildfires as California braces for an intense Santa Ana wind event. PG&E says its power lines may have started 2 wildfires over the weekend in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Meanwhile, here in San Diego County, SDG&E could also be shutting off power to thousands of customers as Santa Ana conditions are expected to continue this week. But this time, even some coastal communities could be affected. I spoke to one business that's now worried about the potential impact.
The staff at Filberto's in the heart of Encinitas work pretty much 24/7. And with all this food on hand, they depend on their refrigerators.
The cheese, the sour cream, and all that stuff. The salsas, all the cool stuff.
So if the power goes out,
it's a big deal. It is a big deal. It would impact. It would be a waste of $500-600.
Manager Nadia Tenorio says tonight is the first she's hearing about possible outages because of the dry and windy conditions. Usually, she says, they get more notice.
You know, maybe to lower down on our food products or maybe have rented a generator or something like that, but we haven't heard anything about them yet.
SDG&E has done these public safety power shutoffs before, but they're usually in towns farther east. The idea is to prevent massive wildfires caused by power lines or other power company equipment. This time, Encinitas is on the list, along with Escondido and Poway, as well as roughly 24 others. If Filberto's does end up losing power tomorrow, Tenorio says one thing's for sure, it won't be business as usual.
Our drive-thru's not going to be working. Our registers are not going to be working. Our ATM machine, our credit card machines are not going to be working.
For a lot of people, that's a lot of problems. All right, a red flag warning is set to take effect late tomorrow night and will last through the middle of the week. But right now, Mackenzie Maynard is here tracking the cold tonight. Very chilly temperatures out there.
Really cold already tonight, and it's only going to get colder. Take a look. Oceanside, 47 degrees right now. San Diego downtown, 60. 44 in Ramona, and as we make our way to the mountains, also dipping into the low 40s as well. And as if we take a look at what it compares to where we were yesterday, well, we're definitely a lot cooler, even 16 degrees cooler in some of our mountain areas, 10 degrees cooler in Ramona and Alpine. Now this is going to take us through the evening, and then tomorrow we'll have a pleasant Tuesday along the coast as well as our inland valleys. We see there dipping into the low 40s, but then building back up close to 70, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But we're tracking tomorrow night. Things are going to change after that pleasant Tuesday. The strongest Santa Anas we have seen yet so far this season. I'll have all those details coming up in my full forecast.
All right, thank you, Mackenzie. Meanwhile, a trailer that caught fire sparked the Sawday fire in Ramona last week. That's according to CAL FIRE. The trailer was parked on Sawday Truck Trail this past Friday. The flames spread to nearby vegetation and scorched nearly 100 acres. Firefighters are making good progress on it, though. That fire is now 98% contained. No structural damage or injuries were reported. And you can stay on top of the fire situation all week by downloading our 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store.
A former White House national security advisor has defied a subpoena in the House impeachment inquiry. Charles Kupperman failed to show up for a deposition today after asking a federal court if he was legally required to do so. In the meantime, the House will vote Thursday on formalizing the impeachment inquiry process. Republicans have criticized Democrats for not holding a formal vote on the matter, which is not required in the Constitution.
New at 11, the San Diego Junior Theater says several instruments were stolen this weekend just as their new show opened. 10 News reporter Matt Boone spoke to one of the performers about how they had to improvise to make sure that show still went on.
That show, Lindsay, is the School of Rock, and guitars are heavily featured on stage, but they were stolen from the theater sometime Friday night, which caused frantic moments on Saturday morning as that cast prepared for their afternoon show.
That sort of all became hectic and everybody was super confused, and then we kind of put 2 and 2 together and realized that they were stolen.
12-year-old Oliver Davis has been playing guitar for 6 years and says he was excited when he got the part in the School of Rock musical.
I could put all the things I've been working on for years into one show.
On his 11th birthday, he got his first electric guitar, a cream-colored Fender Stratocaster.
It was just like my prized possession. It was like my baby. And so finding out that it was stolen was a bummer. His
castmate's bass guitar was also stolen, along with 2 other instruments from the orchestra pit.
It's not just like stealing a toy. It's like instruments have this like certain like you get really attached to them, and so having something like that happen, especially with a kid, is awful.
Oliver has since gotten a new guitar similar to the one that was stolen, but over the weekend he and his castmates were forced to improvise, quickly finding replacements at the last minute.
I used my teacher's guitar, which was luckily not stolen.
The show itself is about how a group of private school kids overcome obstacles to be able to play rock music. For Oliver, he says that lesson helped him focus past the theft of his guitar to keep on rocking.
I might be nervous before, but once I get on stage, it all just melts away and it's just me and playing my guitar.
Now, the executive director of the theater says there were no signs of forced entry, so it's unclear yet how those guitars were stolen. They have filed a police report, but anyone with information that may recognize these stolen instruments is urged to call the San Diego Police Department. Live in Balboa Park tonight, Matt Boone, 10 News.